Welcome back, welcome back. Thank you for joining. Two Joes. We are tonight welcoming two more Joes.
Straight from HoJoe Studio.
HoJoe Studio in beautiful Salt Lake City. Thank you again. So, intros one more time. I guess every segment we should do.
I think it's important to know who's in the studio.
Man, Joe, if you would.
To my right, I have Mojo. Straight front and center, I have HoJoe, and to my left, I have DiJoe. And out on the porch having a smoke is HoJoe. He has joined us just a little while ago. We
do not condone tobacco products, and we are not paid to support this. So just please know, at the end of every movie you hear that.
Read the fine print. Oh. So we were talking because I'm a programmer and Mojo's a programmer, and these two are basically studying to become programmers because it's one of the few jobs that AI isn't going to take away from us anytime soon.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jobs out there for it. I remember there was not too long ago, I was really worried. Not too long ago, it was probably like 20 years ago when India really kind of sprang up and everyone was saying, oh, you can get these programmers in India to do your work, and now that the internet, you can just shoot files back and forth, and I thought I was going to lose my job because of that, but a lot of people don't want to do business with India. A lot of times it's the accents and the language barriers that they just, I know this one guy I worked with, he had a guy in India he was working with, and he said, I spend more time trying to explain to him what I want. I could just program it myself.
Yeah.
And
in a weekend,
so luckily that never took away my job, so I'm happy that I'm still here in America making money programming.
I don't see artificial intelligence ever being able to write its own code.
Yeah.
It seems
for humans, good luck with that.
yeah, exactly. And let alone design an interface.
Yeah.
DiJoe, what do you think of that? You think AI will ever write its own code?
I don't think so. I don't know too much about AI. I've only looked at, NEAT, the different algorithms for machine learning, but just seen some YouTube videos, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty cool.
The only thing I know about it is reading science fiction novels. And in there, it's all terror. It's all nightmare.
Yeah, well, I know Elon Musk is worried about it, and he's out doing podcasts proclaiming that we better be careful going forward with this thing. And I don't even see it happening personally. I just don't think we're going to come up with code that can think for itself. I mean,
and feel emotions.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
Like the other day, I was watching YouTube, and there was this video. And you know how that Boston Dynamics have those robots, and they're really sophisticated robots. And they released this video. This guy taking a bat to the robot, knocking him over, and the robot gets back up.
Yes.
And everyone got all outraged and everything. Oh my God, he's beating on a robot. Well, these guys took CGI and they made the robot fight back. It was kind of spooky, man. He grabbed that stick and he went, whoa.
That's clever.
Yeah, it was pretty freaky. Over 1 million views on that video. I wonder how many people think it's real,
Yeah.
I thought it was real for a second there. But then when the robot started being concerned about broken glass, I thought, wow, I don't know. Something's not quite right with that robot.
You got metal feet, pal. Come on.
I think he had ping pong balls all over him, and then he was like, oh.
So, next topic. It's just us 50-year-old guys that come up with all the topics. How about a 19-year-old perspective?
Well, he brought up something that I wanted to kind of touch on. He was talking about Dreamweaver IDE. And how he kind of likes it. I have a story about that. When I first
explain for our home listeners.
What an IDE is integrated development environment. It's basically helps you write code essentially. And I use one every day at work. Mine's called Team Developer, and not too many people use it, but I love it. I think it works really great. It can be a headache at times, but overall it's nice, and it just gives you, I don't know how to explain it. How would you describe an IDE? Can you help me out here as far as, do you use one every day at work?
No, not anymore. I
really?
Used to.
Straight code?
Well, I don't do that much coding either.
Oh, really?
I'm mainly implementations, configurations.
You're just helping people steer through the maze of running a server.
That's it.
Oh, man. And that's something, dude.
I provision the server. I train them how to babysit it after
where everything is.
Yeah.
You got to go through this, and then you got to hit this, and then you got to do this, and then you got to right click here, and then you say yes. It's like, oh my god, it's crazy, man.
Then you got patches, you got updates, you got security concerns.
Well, that's a whole nother topic I could go into, but Dreamweaver is this thing that helps you develop code for the internet, essentially. So back when I first learned of HTML, I'm like, wow, okay, I want to do this. I want stuff online, right? And man, writing HTML code was a pain in the butt. You got the opening brackets and the closing brackets and the nested brackets, and it was like, oh my god, I can't do this. So I discovered Dreamweaver. I paid like $400 for it, and it really helps you do that code. So all you have to do is drop your title, you put in your pictures, and all the HTML and the closing and opening brackets and everything is done for you. So it made it really, really nice. But the problem with that was it basically just does static web pages. There's no dynamic stuff about it. There's no database behind it. You can't, you know what I mean? It's just pictures and words and hyperlinks, and that's it.
It's not a data-driven.
So tell me about your experience with Dreamweaver. You said you like it. The new one.
I think they've added a lot of functionality to it.
Sounds like
now it works with CSS and JavaScript, and you can embed Java, Ruby, Python, all different kinds of code in it. And then also now you write your own HTML in it as well. So it's real nice.
So what does it help you do as far as if you have to put in your own HTML? Do you have to type in all the opening, closing brackets and all that stuff? And
so when you open a bracket, it'll close it for you.
Oh,
and then
big help.
It'll bring up. So say you're in CSS and you open a positioning for an element. It'll show you a list of the different possible positioning tags.
That's nice.
And then
that's
you can
helpful.
just click enter instead of type in, position static. You can just go position, then enter.
That's nice. I'm learning JavaScript right now, and I have no help like that in my IDE. And it's like I don't even know what JavaScript can do, and it's really been frustrating because I'm almost to the point where I should just take a week or two and just study JavaScript and not even try and get this project done that I'm doing. Because right now I'm looking at example code and I'm trying to re-engineer it for what I need, and it's getting kind of frustrating.
Well, it'd be worth it. Spend a weekend learning some JavaScript.
But is my boss going to pay for that? He wants results.
Eventually, he will. Yes,
I might have to talk to him about it because it's getting frustrating. Either that, or I'm going to go to Upwork and hire someone. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Upwork. But that might be something you guys can do as far as getting learning and getting projects.
It's the gig economy. If somebody needs something written and they don't want to do it, and they've got $1,100 to spend on it, and it might be a weekend of work for one of you.
Well, like what we did is we were setting up our Exchange server, right? And so I've never set up an Exchange server before, and you can search the internet for help, but you only get so far with that. And so we had to go to Upwork and hire someone to work with me over the phone. And then I shared my computer screen with him, and he guided me through it all, and so we could get it all set up. And it was really helpful. It saved us tons of time.
So, DiJoe, would Dreamweaver help you with the work you're doing for my website?
That's what I use.
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought you were straight HTML5. You're using Dreamweaver.
It's HTML5.
Inside Dreamweaver. Excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
And then it's nice because you can pull up your JavaScript, CSS, and HTML right next to each other.
Beautiful.
Just go back and forth. And you can pull up a live preview as well as you edit the code.
Yeah. So, HoJoe, do you know any of this stuff, or are you just kind of gleaning off of DiJoe right now?
I'm just learning.
Right.
Yep. I'm just trying to figure
a little closer to the microphone, please. Yeah.
I'm figuring that out, too. I just have him explain stuff to me, and then I try and learn it the best I can. But it's difficult, I'll tell you that.
HoJoe, please know you're always welcome to come down here and work alongside him. I'm not going to pay you for that. That'd be just you learning.
All right. I'll pull some weeds and then come in and
There
watch.
you go. If you need a break from weed pulling, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more you look at that stuff, the better. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it just starts to make sense. People have always been afraid of computers. Certain segments of people have always been afraid of computers, and the one rule I try to impress on them is it's hard the first time. After that, you remember, and then the third time, it's whoa! I can't believe I was intimidated by this.
Exactly, and once you learn one language, the next one's much easier to learn because you can't stop at one. There's no way. There's too many out there. Yeah. Like what I'm doing is HTML5 too, and I've got the development environment that helps me. Part of the problem I'm running into, though, and maybe you can help me with this, is when you have an IDE like that tries to help you, they put in a bunch of code and JavaScript source tags and everything. So when I put in mine, somewhere in there, it's getting lost and it's not even recognizing my JavaScript. And it's like, well, what the hell? Why aren't you running my JavaScript?
Yeah. It's always a problem, I guess.
It could be. I don't know, maybe your IDE helps you prevent that better than mine does, but that's where I'm at. I'm doing HTML5 for phones, Safari. Okay. You pull up Safari on your phone and you can run my code.
Okay. Well, I know Dreamweaver does that with their fonts. You just can't get their fonts out of there because they always, even if you do a blank template.
Adobe. That's when they got their start, is doing fonts. That's probably why they're so hard-ass on you using them, I guess.
Yeah.
Awkward silence. So let me ask on HoJoe for a minute. I know DiJoe's family and siblings and history. HoJoe, did you have brothers and sisters?
Oh yeah, I have 2 younger brothers, and then I'm the oldest of the 3.
Ah, okay. So the mentor, huh?
The first to show them how it's done.
Yeah, show them how not to do it.
This is how you go to college.
Yes, this is
how not to cut your hair.
Let me tell you something. He saw me at my worst haircut. I had this nice shaved side mohawk going. It
nice.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
When was this?
This was, what?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Terrible.
Oh, God. It was...
You got to experiment.
Yeah, I shouldn't have experimented.
That's the time to do it. That's when you do it, yeah. If you had that now, I wouldn't have you pulling weeds for me, boy.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to.
Did you let it grow out immediately?
Yeah, I don't think I've cut it since then.
Oh, since sophomore in high school.
Well, I trim it every now and again, but I really don't get any drastic cuts anymore.
Yeah. Well, listeners, he's got hair down to his shoulders. He's only about 4 or 5 inches away from Fabio.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, me too.
Balding, middle-aged man.
If I had hair like this, I would put on a Speedo and rollerblades and go down State Street, just letting it flow in the wind, man.
That's how I get to work every morning. It's my daily commute.
That's what you every morning. Is that your workout in the morning?
Yeah.
5 a.m. State Street and rollerblades.
Nice.
Yeah. And a unitard, though. I've seen it. He wears a unitard, not a Speedo.
Yep.
He's got to cover those nipples.
I got it.
They're sensitive.
Over the shoulders.
They're sensitive to the wind. Yeah.
They chafe easy.
So, what else has been up in the world then?
Go ahead. Well, you can change the subject if you want, but I wanted to ask HoJoe about, because I know, so he started his college career. He's just finished his first year, and he's thinking about switching majors, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. Have you got your schedule for next year figured out? Have you got classes?
Yeah, I have. I was talking to my counselor about it right at the end of the year, because we knew that I was definitely thinking about switching things up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And we decided that we were going to take some of the more general classes, things that will apply to a bunch of things until I decide, this is what I want to do.
So you haven't committed yet.
Right. Because I mean, there's so many options out there. I'm really thinking about, computer science, but then there's also business and there's also engineering, and there's a lot of options out there for me. So
yeah.
Until I can figure something out, we're just trying to give me a solid base to where I'm not behind when I finally decide where I want to go.
Don't forget about interior decorating. That's a big one too.
Oh, yeah.
Interior decorating.
I can see.
Let's just say Mojo Studio has had no professional interior decorating, but there is a story about one particular item in this room. And
the lamp?
The lamp.
Yeah. Came out of nowhere. Yeah. Well, I know where it came from, but the person who put the lamp there still denies that he brought it here.
To this day?
It's always been there. It was because we care so much about you, the home listener. DiJoe actually lived here last summer, or 2 summers ago.
Last
summer for about 3 weeks. They had sold their house in Sandy they grew up in, and DiJoe's dad had just bought a house, but they were waiting on it to close. And he called me one night. I was down in my first night in Vegas, and DiJoe called, Dojo called.
Dojo.
and said, dude, I'm homeless, and I don't want to move my kids in with my folks. So I said, all right, here's the garage code. You owe me a trip from the airport. So came back, my first trip back here from Vegas, and saw that lamp in the corner, and I said, oh, man, thanks. Cool. Appreciate the new lamp. And everybody goes, what are you talking about? I didn't put that there. That's always been there. That lamp's always, and then that's going to be a running joke until I die. I know it is. He's going to try and convince me that I'm messed up in the head somehow.
That's funny.
There's one quick story on that, too. When DiJoe was living here, my first trip back, well, my only trip back while they were still living here, and we got into a chess match tournament thing, DiJoe and me. And I just could not accept that an 18-year-old was going to beat me. So we started out playing $1 a game and then double or nothing from there on. Next day, I paid him $154. And that was cash money, too, wasn't it?
Some chess hustling.
Wow. Wow, it's big stakes.
I didn't win one game.
Oh, man.
We played probably 25 games from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m., and I didn't win one of them. One of them lasted maybe 25 minutes, and that was my whole claim to fame. The rest of them, it was like Patton's Army running down a Girl Scout troop.
I think the moral of that story is don't judge a book by its cover. I had a roommate from Poland, and he didn't come across as a super intelligent dude. Even though he was going to school with me, he was an electrical engineering major. He was no dummy, but he just didn't come across as super sharp. So we were roommates, and so I worked nights, he worked days, so we'd have a chess game going, and we'd just flip the card when it was the other person's turn, and we'd continuously play. He beat me every single frickin' time. So finally I said, enough of this. So I go to the library, get out a book. This is pre-internet days. And I studied chess and how to checkmate people and all the little tricks you could do. And I finally beat him one game because I did this little corral thing with my pieces and got him in checkmate, but never since.
Yeah.
After he figured out, okay, he knows these moves, and again,
these formations,
couldn't beat him.
Methods of attack, and
opening moves.
Yeah.
Oh, what openings you play?
Dude, that was pre-internet. We're talking late 90s. Late 90s.
There we go. Yeah, that is a podcast in itself. We could talk chess for a while.
Yeah.
It's one of DiJoe's favorite subjects.
Oh, really?
For a while.
I haven't played in forever.
So I didn't know. I was playing Paul Newman at pool.
Yeah.
Nice. He studies it. He plays every day, pretty much, don't you?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, online, or there's a cafe you go to here locally and play live chess, too.
Oh, yeah. Me and HoJoe go there pretty much every night.
Pretty nice.
Really?
So, HoJoe, you're a chess master as well?
Not to the same extent, but
Okay.
I try my
He
best.
still schools Mojo a little bit.
Oh yes, oh yes, I remember that night.
Oh, wait, I played you in chess once?
Oh yes.
Was Crown Royal involved? I don't remember.
100%.
How much money did you go home with?
Oh shit! I went home with like $25. I think.
Yeah. I pay my bills.
Nice, man.
Home
Nice.
listeners. Yeah.
That was a good night.
That's a good
Your
night.
first hour of weeding is free.
That is my volunteer work.
Giving this old man a lesson.
I went and helped out this 50-year-old guy. It made me feel so good.
Nice.
I did my part.
I'm always working for society.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Well, that was a nice little...
Yeah, we can wrap up the segment there. We're about at 18 minutes, almost to our sweet spot. I could ramble on for another 2 maybe, but I won't bore you with that. We're here to entertain and have some laughs. So thank you all for joining us. Until next time.
Thank you, Main Joe. DiJoe, HoJoe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you got 1 or 2 more segments in you.
I think we did.
Cool.